potentially leaving the Niners, Richard Sherman. So coming off an injury, played 4 or 5 games this past year. Pretty good in 2019. Vish, who should sign Richard Sherman?
Yeah, for me, I think the another slip just because the team's changed. The Las Vegas Raiders, I think that's who should sign Richard Sherman. They have a big need in their secondary, right? Like Jonathan Abram was supposed to be this stud when they drafted him, and Jonathan Abram freelances too much and doesn't take the responsibilities that they ask of him in coverage. Trayvon Mullen is not terrible, but he's not great. Obviously, they drafted Garyon Conley in 2017, and he's no longer on the team, and he busted. So they've used a lot of resources on a secondary that just hasn't performed. I think one, Richard Sherman would bring great veteran leadership for them, which they require greatly. It seems at least that way. Two, John Gruden openly recruited him on the PFF podcast, so that's another thing. And three, knowing that Gus Bradley is their defensive coordinator, and the fact that he comes from Seattle with Richard Sherman, he was the first defensive coordinator when they had that great defense in 2013 and won the Super Bowl. And so knowing that information too, I just feel like it's a perfect fit for Richard Sherman, not to mention it's a short move for him and he stays on the West Coast.
Yeah, I mean, he has to stay on the West Coast, right? I mean, that's just kind of him so far. I mean, Stanford, Seahawks, Niners, and then Raiders. So that's interesting. And I think he would be a guy Gruden loves. Gruden loves leadership. I guess his quote unquote, if you remember from ESPN Monday Night, is his Gruden grinders, guys that do the little things that are intelligent. Like, he seems like a Gruden type of guy, just to me. And yeah, so I know this team is always super penalized. It is the Raiders. And Sherman, I guess, would fit in with that too, in the fact that plays a little more physical. That was more of a joke than anything, but bottom line is they do need a lot of help in their secondary, and maybe if they wanted, like, he could be versatile in the fact that he could switch. I feel like he could play a little safety, Vish. I don't know, that might just be me. But like, he definitely has the intelligence and ball skills, like, to do that. Maybe his athleticism and speed is not that of like a top tier corner anymore, especially after another injury, but I think he can like be versatile and move around in the secondary.
Yeah, and I personally think, I mean, maybe he could play safety. I mean, again, Eric Davis, 49ers legend, believes that Richard Sherman would be like Merton Hanks at safety. So, I mean, like, if he believes that, then who are we to say that he couldn't? And Richard Sherman obviously could do anything on the football field just because of how smart he is. I think that's the big thing that I always come back to. Like, if Richard Sherman is healthy, and that's a big question mark, because I think health is what hurt him last year. But if Richard Sherman is healthy, I think that he can still be a really effective football player. And I think the reason is that, okay, if you're playing zone, like cover 3 or cover 4, right, Richard Sherman is going to give up outs. He's going to give up digs. He's just going to keep everything in front of him because he doesn't want to get beat deep. But the problem is, if you keep targeting Richard Sherman with that type stuff, you might get a couple completions and it might look open to you. And then that one time he reads the route concept, or he recognizes what you're doing based on formation, and he intercepts you the ball, he changes the game. And that's what Richard Sherman has always been great at. He takes the ball away, unlike most corners that of his caliber and his level, because they don't get targeted like that. But Richard Sherman is fantastic at doing that. He's still a great tackler. I think he would be a massive signing even now for the Las Vegas Raiders, especially given that, Damon Arnett allegedly had maturity concerns coming out of college. Trayvon Mullen obviously was supposed to be a very, 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 very good player within the locker room and all of those things. I mean, these are things people report. That's what I'm just going by. Yeah. And then obviously Jonathan Abram seems to be a little more freelance. I think that Richard Sherman would bring much needed discipline to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, and this team under Gruden has kind of collapsed at the end of the last few years. I mean, they always come out of the gates like this is the new Raiders team. They look really good, above 500, and then they kind of just like fold at the end of the seasons. Maybe
it's classic Gruden.
It is. Maybe Sherman could help with that, like, keeping people focused and actually, bringing more leadership to a defense that has not been really good probably since they had Khalil Mack for that 1 year. I think it was 2016.
I don't even think they were good then. They just turned the football over.
They were still one-man wrecking crew.
Yeah. Yeah, they turned the football over. They have not really had a good defense, and their pass rush is also obviously a problem. That's why they signed Unique Ngakoue. Mad Max Crosby wasn't the same rookie Mad Max Crosby. Cleveland Ferrell is like a solid player, but you don't draft solid players at number 4 overall when Brian Burns went after him, and Josh Allen had 10.5 sacks as a rookie, and he went after him. So for those reasons, it was not the best of picks, and it's gotten the much needed. It's already gotten the scrutiny that people have given it. So I don't want to be part of that. And so from that standpoint, I just look at it and I say they need somebody, and I think Richard Sherman would help them a lot.
Yeah,